guys, it's Jasma, and today we're going to make a blueberry sour cream cake. This cake is really quick to make, and it is also really moist and packed full of flavor. It would be great as an afternoon tea or eaten as a snack. So let's get started. First off, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to preheat it ahead of time because, again, this cake is made really quickly and you never want to leave your batter out for too long or it will become really dense and won't be as soft. And then I'm going to mix together my dry ingredients. So I have all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, and some salt, and I'm just going to mix those together. Then I'm going to pass it through a sieve just to mix a little bit of air inside of this and make it a little bit lighter. So I have a hand sifter. You can use whatever type of sift you want. This also gets rid of any lumps inside of the flour. Now onto my butter and sugar mixture. I'm going to be using my stand mixer with a paddle attachment, but of course you can use a hand mixer if you like. Usually when you're making batter, you want to use a paddle attachment so you don't over mix it. So into the stand mixer bowl, I'm going to add in my softened unsalted butter. You want to make sure your butter is nice and soft, which makes it a lot easier to mix. Just start mixing it until it becomes light and fluffy. The butter is now creamier. You can tell that it's a little bit lighter in color and it has become a little bit fluffy as well. So I'm going to add in my white sugar now. Now just mix it until combined and nice and fluffy. Halfway through, you want to scrape down the sides of the mixer bowl because you always want to make sure that you don't leave out any ingredients. Now crack in the eggs one at a time, and it's best that the eggs are at room temperature so it doesn't cause the butter mixture to separate. Make sure the first egg is completely absorbed by the butter. You want the butter to absorb the liquid because if you don't, then later on as you add in more eggs, it'll cause the mixture to separate. So once again, scrape down the bowl. This is just something that you do pretty much every single time you add in another ingredient. Then add in the second egg and beat until completely incorporated. My wet mix is now ready, so I'm going to add in the dry ingredients and my sour cream alternating. I'm going to start with about a third of the dry ingredients and mix it through. Make sure you do not over mix this batter. You don't want it to be a really tough cake. Then I'm going to add in half of the sour cream. Adding sour cream to this cake just really makes it moist and really soft. So make sure you do not skip this. There is a lot of sour cream, but that's what makes this cake so good. Then add in another third of the dry ingredients and mix that through. Now add in the rest of the sour cream. And add in the rest of the dry ingredients. Just mix a little bit more until the batter is combined and then stop mixing. Once again, do not overmix. The cake batter is now ready, so I'm going to quickly mix together my filling. So it's basically brown sugar with ground cinnamon and some all-purpose flour. And just mix those together. You can also rub it together with your fingers if you like. Now we can assemble the cake. So I'm using a bundt cake pan and I'm going to spray it with some cooking spray just to stop the cake from sticking to the sides after it bakes. Now I'm going to lay a layer of the batter on the bottom of the cake pan with the help of an ice cream scoop. This just ensures that it is nice and evenly layered and it's easier to spread out as well. You're going to take about a third of the batter so that we have 3 layers with the blueberries in between. Try to push it all the way to the edges. And then you can sprinkle on your first layer of the brown sugar cinnamon filling. Try to keep all the filling and the blueberry away from the edges of the cake so it doesn't cause it to brown too much or caramelize too much after it bakes. Press the blueberries down a little so it doesn't move around too much when you're spreading on the next layer of cake batter. Then just repeat this step until you're out of batter. You should have 2 layers of blueberries and filling in the end. Spread out the last layer of batter nice and evenly, and then send the cake straight off into the oven and let it bake for around 60 minutes until it is nice and golden brown on top. Alright, the cake has baked, so now I'm just going to leave it on a cooling rack for it to cool for around 15 minutes before flipping it over. Now I'm going to make a quick glaze just to decorate the cake a little bit. Of course, you can skip this step. It will taste just fine without it, but I feel like it does add a little bit of decoration and makes it look a little bit nicer. So this is a really quick icing sugar and milk glaze. You basically just mix them together, drizzle it over, and you're done. So I have half a cup of icing sugar here, and I'm going to add around a tablespoon of milk. The amount you add can vary depending on how thick or how thin you want it. Don't make your icing too thin or else it'll just slide down the sides of the cake and you won't be able to see it over time. So add a little bit of icing and add more only if you need to. I added a little more than half of the milk to my icing sugar and it has reached the stage that I want it to be. So now I'm going to load it into a Ziploc bag just so I can drizzle it over. You can also just use a spoon and drizzle it randomly if you like. I feel like just using a Ziploc bag gives you a little more control. Gather the icing to one corner of the bag and snip off a small tip. Under my cooling rack, I placed a tray just to catch any of the excess icing, so I'm just going to drizzle it over the cake. That's how you make this sour cream blueberry cake. This cake is really soft and moist on the inside, and if you were to refrigerate it, I would suggest you to reheat it before you eat it, just so that you could melt that butter a little bit and get it nice and soft again. It is packed with blueberry flavor, and it has a nice touch of cinnamon as well. It has a really nice texture since it is nice and fluffy, so I really hope you could try this out. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye!